Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of BVS Film Productions CommTALK. Today, I've got a special guest, someone I've known for a long time, Bill Lambert from Lambert Consulting. How you doing, Bill?
Dan, how are you?
Great, man. Great.
I'm happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, we've known each other for how long? Would you say 100 years?
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
I was thinking about it in the car. I was driving in this morning, and it's early 90s.
Yeah, it was with one of my. I think I was almost just starting out in business with my. I think it was a design company.
It was before Jamestown Group, even, correct?
Yeah, right when it started, I think was what it was.
Okay,
yeah,
because you were in Westlake. I know the strip mall, or not strip mall, but
that's right.
The building you were in a nice office, and that's where we met.
Back in the print world.
Exactly.
Built your first catalog. Actually, it was one of our first big catalogs we did. And
was it really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I know. I remember bringing samples over to your office,
That's
and
right.
You were photographing window samples and corner samples and panels
with film.
And then the quality was great.
Yeah.
They'd go into a binder, and I know we'd go back. I bought a whole bunch of binders.
Yeah.
Put them back together in Lakewood, and then we'd hand them out to architects, and within the next week, they would be obsolete.
That's right. Well, that's what I was saying, 3 rings. We made them 3 rings. When you were telling me they change all the time, let's make them 3 rings, pull them out, put a new one in. So it's kind of cool.
They delete a product or add something, but stuff. It was a print world back then, and that worked.
Yeah.
But
so what are you doing now these days? What's your background? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well,
too.
First of all, this is my 48th year in the business.
Wow! Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm proud to be in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I started 48 years ago in Jamestown, New York, at a company called Hope's Windows.
Yeah.
And I got in the window business back then. Mm-hmm. And of course, being a young guy, you think you can set the world on fire. So I only lasted 2 or 3 years, and I jumped. But we moved to Rochester, and then also lived in Atlanta, and then moved to Cleveland, is where I met you. But that was back in the mid '80s.
Yeah.
And that's really when I started my repping the rep business. And I've been in architectural building products ever since.
Yeah.
So it's been a great ride. And then from Cleveland, I moved to the New York City area after a life change, as I call it. And another way to put it, that's a soft way of putting a divorce.
Oh, yeah.
But after moving to New York, I moved there because my boys lived in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So
cool.
I started... I tried to work for a couple people, but being independent for so many years, it was difficult.
Yeah, right.
And after a couple tries, I said, the heck with this. I'm gonna start another business.
Yeah.
So,
once you get it in your bones, you have to do it, right? I mean, it's just. I was the same way. I went through the same thing. You try working for somebody else, and it's almost like there's 2 bosses in the room. I always find you're butting heads.
I think there were 3 bosses or more in the room.
Oh,
it just seemed like it was more difficult.
Yeah.
I just like being independent. I'm self-motivating, as you are.
Right.
And I just like to do my own thing.
Yeah, exactly right. So what do you now? Let me go back a step. So you were doing things like a skyscraper. You would do sell the windows to someone for that, or how would that work? I mean.
Well, that's when I was in architectural building products more as a manufacturer's rep. I would represent manufacturers. Yeah. I would promote to architects and contractors, developers, try to get a product that a manufacturer that I was representing would build. Most of them at that time were all U.S. companies.
Yeah.
And then, then you'd go through the whole process of control, because you would write a specification. You would bid it. There'd be games played from point A to point B.
Right.
So if you were lucky, maybe you'd get a contract at the end of the job. But yes, that's what I was doing, is selling building products. I've since transitioned in the last 6 months. Yeah. And I've gone from selling building products to selling my consulting services. Yeah. And I've changed my whole paradigm as far as my approach in business. And now I'm promoting myself to small businesses.
Yeah. And successful too. I mean, every time we talk, I got another client.
Well, I've been fortunate. I got a couple nice clients right out of the box. And I think I told you that. My ideal client would be in the consulting role would be a manufacturer. that builds products or builds something that would relate to the skyscraper or the high rise. But that would be my best client, would be a manufacturer. But I also work with distributors. And I also work with small business. And I'm working with a construction company now. And I was telling you earlier that he's more of a developer construction company, and he's invited me to be a partner in his business.
That's awesome.
As a consultant, and I'm on retainer with these people. I'm also on their board of directors.
Wow.
So it's exciting. It's just starting. It's a little bit more of a startup, but I think the New York City market, it really set my path. Coming into New York City, selling building products, knowing the products but not knowing the market was the toughest thing I've ever done in my life.
Really?
New York City market is brutal.
Really?
I've learned so many lessons, and I got burned a lot in a short period of time, and I just said, you know what, enough's enough. And that got me more into consulting. And day one when I started consulting, it just feels like I had a different level of respect in the consulting role. You're not just peddling products at a price anymore. That's rewarding, and I'm excited, and my friends are retiring, and I start another business.
Well, it keeps us young, it does. And I was, and just reference, I was kind of through the same thing, probably about 10 years ago. I was going through a thing where I want to switch, and maybe I'll go work for somebody else for 2 years. And I went on and did that for a little bit, and I could not sell anything when I was working for somebody else. I just couldn't do it. And the minute I opened up a shingle again and hung a shingle, I started again. And because I believed in it. And I think that makes a big difference, believing in yourself and what you do, from what I'm seeing.
Because we've stayed in touch over the years. You've always sent me these little zingers, Bill, I'm still here.
How's it going?
Whispering in my ear. But I sort of sensed that you were in the same role I was, really trying to find yourself. Even though you've been in the business for 30 years, 40 years, whatever, that's what happens. I think sometimes we really have to test the water. And I'll be honest with you, I think I had the same problem. I had a hard time selling too, believe it or not. I was doing it all my life in Ohio when I lived here, and very successful. I had a great business. But trying to work for someone else, I couldn't crack the nut. I'm telling you, it was hard.
Sometimes your heart's not in it, And the other thing is, I have found that I personally didn't have a lot of leeway, like you do when you're a business owner. I'll throw in this, won't work that out over here just to get you on. You can't do that. You got to go prove it through somebody else or something,
Structure. You're spending someone else's dollars now, right?
So they can make the money.
Right? But you know how it's you know what the end in mind is. You know how you can work it out with throwing that little tidbit in there, but it's hard to convince an owner, or maybe there's not the trust there yet. But I agree.
They can't see the vision that you have.
No. And a lot of small business owners aren't real visionary people.
They look at the bottom line a lot of times, right? If it's not coming in, you can't. They can't see what's going to be over here, right?
But you have creativity and you have vision, and I feel I'm the same way. And a lot of times that's very difficult for a creative person to step in the role of a structured small business, because they're expecting something different and they want you to fall in line with everyone else. And, you're marching a little differently, and I marched a little differently as well. But here we are.
Here we are. So the other thing was, this is kind of about advertising and video and things of that nature. So how has that played a role in what you're doing and how you're doing it?
Well, that's why I'm here, Dan.
Exactly.
I'm hoping that you're going to help me create the role.
Our team, yes.
I've always been a good communicator, I felt. Communication's been one of my skills, building trust. And I'm going to take your word advertising and I'm going to change it to reaching, because we're in a little different mode now. Everything's changed so much. I mean, we were talking print back then. We were sending faxes out when we first started talking. And then, the internet's changed everything, and social media's changed everything. And I was telling you earlier that I'm not a real big social media person, because it's not about me. When you're selling, it's not about you. It's about the customer. And I struggled a little bit and had a little bit of a hard time trying to put myself in the role of on an Instagram post or on a LinkedIn post. When you see everyone on LinkedIn, it's all about them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that. So that's why I struggle with this whole concept of social media, because I don't want it to be about me. I want the message to be about what I'm talking about, but it's not about me. It's about my message.
And about helping people, right? That's
Correct.
really the key.
So that's the communication end. Mm-hmm. The reaching part is how I want to reach people.
Yeah.
And that's what I discussed with you a little bit earlier, is to take the concept of what I have of the morality, the spiritual concept I have of writing my book, which I'm writing, and I told you about that, and I'm still clipping away at it. Mm-hmm. And the point is I want to bring the morality side of my spirituality into my business.
Yeah.
And I want to help other small businesses with the same way, because business is different today than it was when you and I started.
Yeah.
And I think today people don't stay with businesses very long. So they might, they're jumping around. I mean, I know some young people that have been in businesses, and every 2 or 3 years they're going somewhere else for a few more bucks or doing something different. Yeah. And there's no longevity. So I think the morality side, maybe not keep people in business longer, but I think it's a message that small business owners need to hear. In that they may be thinking that maybe they don't know what they need to hear at this point in time. But this is a little bit different approach to try to reach small businesses and manufacturers to help them maybe gauge and start a new level in their business, that maybe they can create a little bit more interest for longevity for young people, and give some young salespeople some hope that stick around here. This will be a good deal.
Yeah, and I want to go back a little bit to what you said. Business changed a lot. I mean, when I first was in business, we got one big client, Alcoa, at the time. Their wheel division in Cleveland. I would get a call from the rep that was working with us, and he'd say, "I need 50-yard line tickets for the Browns, in the front, and just bill it to the account." That was the norm back then. It's not like that anymore.
No, not at all.
And that's where your virtues come in. I mean, teaching people that is so important.
Well, years ago, I mean, big companies would have golf course for all of their, all the higher brass.
Yeah.
Or to bring people into golf. Of course, that was a write-off back then. It isn't anymore. But
I was on a couple of those. I know. It was just
lots of fun.
They're fun.
But things have changed so much, and you don't have that anymore. So I think it's a different moral fabric today than it was.
It is.
And I think I want to bring a little of that back. I'm old school in that regard.
Yeah.
But I think that's the way it's a way for me to live my life.
No, it's great. And what's the brand going to be called? Have you given a thought to that yet? Or are we still putting it together?
Well, you and I talked a little bit about it today. I had a hat gallery a few years ago after that life change.
Yeah.
And I tried to make a go here in Cleveland, and unfortunately it didn't work, and I pretty much sold out. But I was branding Lambie back then as Lambie Wear was my hat brand.
I remember that.
But the Lambie was an image that I created. I tried to identify myself with my hats.
Yeah.
It was probably more about, I wanted to sell hats, but I was probably more involved with the Lambie image, and I was more involved in trying to promote myself back then than I am now.
Yeah.
But the branding issue, I think, is more of to go back to your question, more relating to morality.
Yeah.
But there still could be a Lambie image in my communication.
So for the listeners, look out for Lambie. Is that what we're going to be looking for?
Life Lambie. Remember,
Life Lambie.
I use that word
Life
to you.
Lambie. Okay.
Life Lambie is a way to live a moral life.
Is that going to be the name of the book? Have you given any thought to that?
No, but you know what? I haven't thought of that, but I had a name picked out, but Life Lambie makes a lot more sense.
I like the sound
You
of
might have
that.
named it for me.
There we go.
Good
to
does
go.
that mean you're going to be asking for some royalties too?
No. We're good. We're good. That's great. All right. Good. So if you had a chance to go back to your 18-year-old self and tell them something, what would it be? One thing.
I would first say be humble.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my first words. I would also say fill your spiritual life.
Yeah.
Fill your moral life, and work to build your values.
Okay. Great. That kind of ties in with the last one. What advice would you give? Well, actually, this is more business. What advice would you tell someone that's just starting out in your current business?
I would tell them that your business life does not define who you are.
Yeah.
And I think when I started, my business life defined who I was. I thought it was, and it didn't. It didn't. No. My business life did not define who I was, but I thought it did. I think your business life only survives, and your spiritual life drives everything. Your spiritual life drives your personal life, and your spiritual life also drives your business life. And I've learned that recently, only within the past couple of years.
Really?
Yeah. But it's helped me, and it's helped me create a better path for myself. So I would say, without a doubt, is just define who you are through your morality and be humble and look for your spiritual life. It's very important.
Good words of wisdom. Awesome. So how can people reach you, Bill?
Bill Lambert. My phone number, I'll give you that. That's easy, 216-469-3906, which is still my Cleveland exchange, by the way. Right. It's funny when I call people, they say, Cleveland? Who's that's Bill. I know Cleveland is on the phone because sometimes they answer, hey, Cleveland. So I still have my Cleveland number. Yeah. Also, Bill, my email address is bill@thelambertco.com. The website is thelambertco.com.
Very good, very good. Well, Bill, thanks for being on our show today.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
Well, that's it for today. Great having Bill on the show, and we'll catch you on our next episode.